Wiseman Nkuhlu. Now, you saw an insert in the previous hour where we did a piece on the life of purpose, is a biography on the life of Professor Nkuhlu, who's been authored by Luvuyo Wachela. In this book, history examines the past in order to test the present. The author resolutely states that the values and ethos the man portrayed didn't suddenly come from nowhere. They're a culmination of good nurturing, overcoming, testing adversities and selfless consciousness. I have the professor seated right next to me, and it's my honor to have a conversation with him.
It's a real pleasure.
Thank you very, very much for being with us. I would like to actually ask you, at the beginning of our conversation,
yes,
you were the economic advisor to our former president, Thabo Mbeki.
Yes.
Obviously, you went to the house, you met Mbeki. What was she like?
Yes, a very humble person, very loving, very caring. And to me, the fact that she chose to live in a rural setting and work with rural women was really special. In my earlier days, I was an auditor in the Eastern Cape. I worked with small business. As a member of NAFCOC then, I got to understand the challenges and the value that business like hers really add to communities.
Yeah, so it's a great loss to South Africa, but
it
a
is
very, very full and I think lucrative
yes,
life that she
yes,
certainly did lead, that gave us and her community, because I think her community was at the center of everything for her.
Definitely. She chose to live in that community. It's a very poor community, but her presence, her style of humility and being down to earth enables her to actually reach out to the people.
Yeah. Let's talk about your life. Let's talk about this wonderful biography that's just been released.
Yes.
You have something of a record of firsts here in South Africa. You were the first black CA in the country to qualify.
Yes.
The first to say that you observed the colonization was fueled between the big gap between Europe's technological and scientific advancement. How does it make you feel to see our education system still in the state that it's in right now?
Yeah, no, it is very sad. In my earlier professional life, when I was the Vice Chancellor of a university in the Eastern Cape, and also as active participants in NAFCOC, BMF, and ABASA, one of our major thrusts was that a post-apartheid government will have to focus on sending thousands of young people to go and attain high qualifications overseas across the board in the key skills area. Secondly, we had to set as our objective in the education sector being among the first 20 best performers in the world. And really it's very disappointing that now, after 20 years, our learners still perform so badly in these international tests when they are compared with their peers in other countries. We even compare badly when we're compared with our African counterparts.
Yeah, and we need to work on that, no doubt.
Exactly.
You were the economic advisor to our former President Thabo Mbeki at a time where South Africa's economy was growing at a beautiful rate.
Yes.
It was doing exceptionally well. Our economic policies were working. Those years, I must say, we really were a shining light. In terms of inequality, however, it was still a massive gap, and it still exists now. What do you think we need to do to bridge this gap?
Yeah, I think really we need to identify and define the problem correctly. That should be the start. You know, I still believe that the major difference between us and the countries that are able to achieve rapid growth is this gap in scientific and technological capability. By scientific, I just don't mean that hard sciences, you know, I also mean just any body of knowledge that is organized systematically, including business science, including politics, and so on. If we define that correctly and really focus our strategies on dealing with that, that is what will give us a sustainable solution to unemployment, to poverty, and so on, getting the basic rights. In other words, enhancing the knowledge and technical capabilities of the whole nation and subordinate all other objectives to that.
Yeah. This is not the first book that's been written about you. Not many of us can
Yes.
brag about the fact that one book's been written about us, never mind two books, which is what you have at the moment.
Yes.
What makes this one more significant? What's different about this particular?
No, I believe that we have to challenge the young people in this country, especially the professional organizations, to really think seriously whether really what we are doing is transformative enough to deal with the fundamental challenge that I've just defined to you. It's important that we really appreciate that what really made colonialism possible was that, starting with the European Renaissance, the advances in science and technology, the gap between science and technology between them and Africa increased very significantly. And if really we really understand what we need to do is to really deal with that.
Yeah. Well, Professor, I'd love to have a longer conversation with you, but I think if people want to find out more, go out there, buy the book. You were going to read about a phenomenal man who's done so much for us, who just recently at the University of Fort Hare also, there was the establishment of the Nkuhlu Center of Accounting. That's in your honor. So again, another thing just that affecting that you have done for our country. So thank you very, very much for joining us on the program. Professor Wiseman Nkuhlu talking about a new book that's just been released, A Life of Purpose, a biography. So you can get one there. All right.